Hey guys, I'm Brian, and today we're gonna break stuff. Alright, so what's this about breaking things? Well, recently I was reaching into my glove box to adjust my Stratus or something, and I came across something that if you fly small airplanes, you've no doubt seen before. This is an Egress hammer. You'll find this in most small planes. In the 3 planes that I've owned or been partnerships in, they've all had one of these hammers. One side is for breaking the window, and the other side is for cutting the seatbelt. There's a small blade in here you're supposed to pull down. So I started wondering if this thing would really be effective in a crash.
10, 550 my Charlie, I have crashed and I am unable to exit the plane.
Cherokee 3 Mike Charlie, Roger, we have the crew rolling.
I have a busted wing and the door is jammed and my kids are in here.
532 Mike Charlie, Roger, we have the crash crew rolling. They know that you guys are trapped in the aircraft, and best guess another minute and a half, they'll be there at the most.
The windows in our planes tend to be made out of acrylic or polycarbonate. Poly meaning many, carbonate, the stuff that Han Solo was frozen in. We have that now in aviation. But what I got wondering was these windows, they have a lot of give. And so I started wondering if I really hit this hammer, is it just going to absorb the energy or is it actually going to break through? And I don't know. So when you start to factor in things like it's an emergency situation and you could be immobilized due to some sort of injury, you start to wonder, could I get out of this plane if I had a bad landing and ended up upside down? If you got to get out of a window, let's find out if this is an effective tool to do it. I also want to test some other tools. I picked up this guy off of Amazon.com for $6. And what it is a spring-loaded glass breaker. And so there's this piece here. You push down. I'm not going to push it because I did it once and it hurt real bad. And a metal spike pops out like that. And so my thinking is if I'm trapped in the plane, if I'm not super mobile, I've only got a little room to work with, perhaps I could push this against the window and cause it to shatter. Much like the hammer, it does have a blade for slicing the seatbelt. So I'm going to try this and see if I can get out of the aircraft with this tool. Another tool I'm going to use to try to get out of the plane is what I call a gun. And I'm going to try to shoot through this and see if I can put my elbow through it and get through the window and get out. I almost guarantee that that's going to work. I would say this. If search and rescue's outside the window, I wouldn't do it because that's a jerk move. You're burning up in a plane and they're trying to save you and you're just shooting them in the knees. What kind of jerk are you to do that to those people? They're here to help. All right, with that being said, let's find out how we're going to get out of an aircraft in a situation where we can't get out through the canopy or doors or whatever method you're supposed to be getting out, and see if we can break through this stuff. All right, so let's find out if we can cut our seatbelt using the blade embedded in the end of the hammer and also the one in the device I bought on Amazon. So what I have is a segment of seatbelt here that's never been used. If I understand correctly, how we want to do this is we're going to take this and we want to cut it at an angle and see how it works. So I'm going to grab this. I've got it tight. It's not a one fell swoop deal. I'm having to pull. This is kind of disappointing. Kind of stuff getting stuck in it. It's kind of jamming up the blade. I was really hoping this was just going to be, you know, whack and then down, but there we go. So if you pull it really, really tight, it looks like that works pretty well. All right, so now I've got this where I can pull it pretty tight. I'm going to use this tool and see if I can go straight through the seatbelt. So here's what we'll do. I got the blade, and I'm just going to pull this down. That was like cutting butter. That was so simple. Okay, that's awesome. So this little thing here, I think I paid $6 for it on Amazon. I'll put a link to it. significantly less effort than this, and it could be that this is dull. I don't know. This blade has more surface area than this little blade, so that may be part of it. I noticed fibers were getting jammed up in here pretty bad. I didn't seem to have that problem in here. Now I'm going to do one more test with this hammer since I've got this secured a little bit better. It could have been that when I tried the hammer the first time, I just didn't have a tight enough, you know, enough tension on the seatbelt. So we'll give this one more shot using the same anchor point. So I'm pulling this as tight as I can. I'm going to work my way through it. But once again, this guy, I mean, so far this thing's winning. All right, you may watch me smashing these windows and go, yeah, this isn't a real scientific experiment, but the fact is my undergrad degree is in computer science, which makes me what? That's right, a scientist. So that means anything I do is scientific. So no matter what you see, if you're like, oh, the physics aren't right or this isn't accurate or whatever, it doesn't matter. Scientist. You're not a scientist unless you're an actual scientist. But I guess just like the Bill Nye of Aviation, you know? Except for my degree is actually science-based. I mean, it's computer science-based. I have no beef with Bill Nye. Bill, I like you. All right, let's go smash stuff. So let's see if the cracking tool will do any damage to this material. I don't think it's going to do anything. I really think we're kind of screwed when it comes to getting through this stuff. My hope was even that it's 20 degrees. My hope was that it was cold enough that these things would be brittle, but I don't think this is going to do anything. But let's give it a couple of pops. That is not doing anything to this windshield. All right, let's try the hammer. All right, so I've got this hammer here. Oh my God, hammer works. I wasn't killing that either. But I think in a panic, with the adrenaline going, it's looking promising. All right, this is a much older window. This is from Stinson. All right. Hammer time. This is the thickest windshield that I have. I don't think anybody would recommend going through a front windshield. Mike, the guy who gave me this, he said when they work on these things, it takes two guys kicking this out with their feet. I don't think the hammer's going to work. I don't think I know that little clicking thing's not going to work, but we'll give it a shot and see if we can get through this. Would it be weird if I just shattered? But you know what? It's doing nothing, but I'm going to grab a camera here and show you something real quick. You can see what's actually happening. All right, so let's see if we can get through the windshield of a 172. You're not getting out of that window with this hammer. The front window of this aircraft is a much thicker window. It's probably twice, almost 3 times as thick as the other one, so I don't think this hammer was ever designed to get through that. All right, in the intro, I sort of threw out the idea of using a BB gun to break through the window. I was kind of kidding, and I think it'll be fun, but at the same time, it might be a legit way. If you really can't move your arms or something, if I can get through some of this glass just by putting some holes in it real quick, let's find out if this is going to get an immobilized person through a window. Now, I don't know a whole lot about guns, but I've watched so many movies. And what you want to do is you want to kind of hold that like this. So, no, it's not how we're going to do it. I'm going to fire a gun through the front of the windshield. I got a deal here to absorb any BBs. The only thing I don't know at this point is if it's going to ricochet off the windshield. I don't expect it will, but we're going to put on some safety glasses just in case. I'm a killer. Look at me.
Shoot the glass.
Bounced right off. Bouncing off every time. So you need to fly with a hammer, the cracker, a BB gun, and a hammer. Now I just want to break stuff. All right, we're going to do the BB gun test again. This time on the Seneca window, which I think is much more brittle. I think it's going to work, but let's give it a shot. See what I did? All right, I'm going to do one from an angle, so if it bounces, it hits those aerosol cans and gasoline over there and doesn't come back and hit me. Where's my eye protection? Where's my eye protection, people? Where's my eye protection? In 3, 2, 1. All right, now we're going to try a little bit of rapid fire on this window and see if I can just shatter it pop, pop, pop style, like the gangsters do. I'm a aviator. Shoot it. All right, here we go. Okay, so what I learned is they're not actually going through, they're bouncing off. All right, so that's not a good solution. Okay, so one important thing we've learned is the BB gun's a really bad idea. It actually seems like it's bouncing off. So you don't want to be trapped in a plane, you start popping off BBs, and then now you're in a plane, you're stuck, and there's BBs just bouncing around for like 15 or 20 minutes. I don't know how many times they'll keep bouncing, but that's probably a lot. So now you're gonna be getting smacked in the face with a bunch of BBs. So yeah, BB gun, surprisingly terrible idea. All right, hammer, hammer. So these cracker tools are actually designed for glass. Hindsight, I'm not all that surprised that it didn't break the plexiglass. I thought it would on the Stinson. If you take some glass and push this down, it's very effective at breaking it. I'll hold it and push this and you'll see. I think I hear the phone ringing. I gotta go check on it. I'll be right back, but there's nothing to worry about. It's just that someone's calling. All right, so I feel like we're learning a whole lot, but in the interest of preventing further blood loss, I'm gonna build a jig, because what happens is when you push on something and break a piece of glass, your hand follows through, turns out, and I'm out of Band-Aids, so let me build this jig real quick and we'll continue with some of the glass. I got some sheets of the polycarbonate and I got some sheets of the acrylic, and we'll see if the hammer will get through these. All right, first, the most satisfying thing ever. Hammer. All right, try the acrylic. Yeah, there we go. Ouch. Again, this is acrylic. Yep. And this thing, as I suspected, really is great for cutting your seatbelt, but its primary purpose is for breaking glass. Hammer will do a good job too. And the hammer with this laying on the glass also does a good job. See, even better. There you go. Science. All right, so what did we actually learn? Well, it seems like this might not be a bad device to have on board your aircraft. This is actually called a life hammer. That's what it says on the side. And I went into this a little bit skeptical, but it seemed to do a pretty good job getting through the windows. I think this is a pretty good tool to have. I know there's a bunch of variations of escape hammers out there and crash axes, and I may try to find something that's a little more beefy than this. This, for cutting the seatbelt, I wasn't super impressed with, and I can't imagine if I'm in a panic in a situation, I can imagine that not working for me. For now, I may carry that little glass cracker just on a keychain just so I've got it. That was extremely simple. But the hammer did a pretty good job. One thing I'm a little curious about is, so I have the Stinson window, the Seneca window, and I have the 172 window. All three of these are front windshields. I've been doing a lot more research online. This video is taking a long while to make. And it does look like most of the airplane windows are acrylic. I think there are some out there that are the polycarbonate, but for the most part they're acrylic. I can't really tell. But the Stinson window, there's the cross section. Seneca window, cross section. The 172 cross section, it's significantly thicker. Obviously, I assume the rest of the windows on the Cessna are much thinner and probably breakable. This was surprising. The front windshield of a Cessna is like bulletproof. The thing I'm most interested in, though, is how it broke. This thing shattered into lots of pieces with very sharp edges. I'm kind of curious if anyone has ever had a bird strike or something come through the windshield of their 172. I would assume this flying at you at 100, 120 miles an hour would do serious damage to your flesh. It makes me really want to fly with a pair of sunglasses more often, because this coming at me, it scares me. If anyone's had a bird strike or something smash their window in flight, comment and let me know if it was like this type of stuff that came flying at you, because that's frankly, it's terrifying. So it's wild how thick that is. So for now, I'm going to continue to fly with these. Like I said, I may look for something a little more beefy, and I'm not crazy about that, but it works. So anyway, thanks everyone for watching this incredibly long video. I try not to make my videos this long, but thank you for sitting through it. And hopefully you never have to use one of these. And if you think it's a good idea to grab one, pick one up and keep it in your plane somewhere maybe. But thanks for watching, and fly safe. That's the clap we do when we synchronize multiple cameras. I've been hanging out with experts and I'm learning about the tricks. Sync our audio. I got camera 1, camera 2, camera 3, which is just a cell phone. Cell phone, GoPro Hero Session Black 5 something, and then I don't even know what that one is. It's a GoPro 2. My undergraduate degree was in computer science, which makes me what? That's right, a scientist. And you're probably watching this on a computer, so it couldn't be more scientific than talking to a scientist who specializes in computers, who's doing experiments that by definition have to be science. You're not going to win this argument. I am the Bill Nye of aviation right now, and so whatever I do is right. So, and parameters and controls and hypotheses and theories, I'm Brian Nye, the science guy. And I'm going to shoot through the window a bunch of times and see if I can put my elbow through it, and I almost guarantee you that that's going to work. Don't comment on this video about how I hold a gun. This is broken. It's an air pistol, and it does. Just shut up, okay? It doesn't work. Oh, you're going to beep at me? You're going to beep at me? We're going to have to clap again.